I'm Melissa and let's go over the Coco handles today. The Coco handle is a bag style from Chanel. Here is the original Coco handle. I have 4 of the sizes here to show you today. On the internet, there is so much confusion about the different sizes, what everyone is calling them. Everyone is calling each size a different name, and I feel like that just adds to the confusion. So let's settle this once and for all, and we'll just kind of head back to the source and go over each size. Let's compare them and see like what fits inside, how they look on, and compare the differences between the Coco handle bag in all these 4 sizes. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to help support my channel and stay updated with my future posts. The Coco handle line is one of the more modern styles. It has been around for a while now, but it's not like one of the original ones, kind of like the classic flap, where it has been around since the brand's creation. So this is kind of a more modern twist on a top handle bag. This bag has become very popular and it has been released in multiple sizes just to accommodate everyone and to add variety to this line. Also, just to mention, I have 4 sizes here. However, there is one even smaller size, and I believe it's called clutch with chain, something like that. However, that's kind of considered more of the wallet or SLG line. It's not really considered a bag. It's more of like a small leather good accessory, and that one is just so tiny. I don't have it here to show, but it basically like only fits cards, so it's like even smaller than this one. Before we go into all the features of these bags, let me give you a quick look and you can just see the ones that I have. So those are the 2 smaller ones, and then I have 2 larger ones as well. Here they are. So for the purposes of just kind of going over all the features of this bag, I'll go over this one. This size is the original one, and that's kind of how it's listed as on the Chanel website. And again, we'll kind of see if there's any differences between all the sizes, but generally they're all very, very similar. So in general, you have a top handle, again, for the name Coco Handle, and it's here on the top. It is quite rigid. You can't really remove it or anything, and it is stationary. This top handle is actually really sturdy as well. It's not very flexible. It's not flexible at all, actually. So it's not prone to getting dented or kind of bent out of shape. However, of course, you still want to be mindful when storing the bag, not to bend it or anything like that, especially if sometimes you get like a box that can be too small. It can kind of get bent out of shape. That's just always something you need to keep in mind with bags that have a top handle. All the sizes have a removable strap, and all the sizes have this kind of same strap with the leather padding at the top, and then the chain going all the way down to the bag attachment. The bag attaches by these little kind of clips, and then you have the little loops here at the base of the handle. On the front, there is a little turn lock, and this is an actual functioning flap, so it's not just a magnetic opening. That is a really nice feature, and I feel like is a bit more luxurious than the magnetic openings. And then you have this shape, which again is part of the line. It kind of goes out more at the base and tapers in a bit at the top. On the sides, you can see there is some stitching here, and that is because once we open the bag, you'll see that there is a divider. This is a more structured bag. This is unstuffed, but you can see that it does keep its shape. It's not very soft and squishy like some other bags, so this, I would say, is a structured bag. Usually this bag comes in caviar leather. However, again, over time, as they've been releasing more and more models of this bag, they've released new leathers and just so many different color combinations. For example, this one I believe is goat skin, and it has a more smooth leather type compared to all the other 3, which are caviar. Let's look at the bottom. The bottom is again very structured, and you do have 2 feet on each side for protection. The one kind of con about having a more structured bag with very rigid corners like this is that it definitely tends to wear more. For example, this one does have a bit of just like corner rubbing. You can see kind of the color is starting to fade. When it's more soft and it gets rubbed on, it kind of bends and is not as prone to getting that kind of damage. I mean, it's just something you kind of have to keep in mind or maybe just accept. It's not too obvious, but maybe over time it would become worse and worse. On the back, there is a little pocket. This pocket is very small and very tight. It's kind of hard to get anything in there, but again, we'll look at all the models and what can fit inside all of them. That's pretty much it to the exterior. Now let's look at the interior. There is just a simple flap here, and inside there are, I guess, 3 compartments or 2. There is a front main compartment and then a back one, and then this little leather divider is a slip pocket. This bag also does have a zipper pocket here on the back. These pockets and just these compartments are a bit tight on all the models. Of course, as you get bigger in size, there is more room to put your hand and stuff, but on these smaller models, you really just have to maneuver your stuff in there and kind of stretch out the bag to even be able to get your stuff and see everything in there. That again is just due to the size of the bag and also the way the divider is. Personally, I feel like this bag could easily go without a divider, but then it would just have a different look here on the side. Now let's go over the sizes. Personally, even for me, it was confusing because when the bag was first released, they only had like 1 or 2 sizes, and then as they added more, the names kind of changed and people started calling them their own variations, and so that just adds really to the confusion. But I am just going based on the Chanel website, so that is the original reference point, and I feel like that's kind of what we should go back to when referencing these sizes. This, I see it called the mini or the extra mini because this size was released after this one. However, on the Chanel website, this is called the mini. So this is the mini size. You can see it's definitely very mini. And then this one here, here's a quick look at them side by side. This one is the original one, so it doesn't really have a size name. Kind of like the classic medium, this one is just called flap bag with top handle. That just makes it more confusing because people, again, make up their own size. I've seen this called small or also mini because when it was released, it was more of the smaller size, so some people were calling it mini, and then that's why the other one got its name as extra mini because this was mini and this extra mini. But on the Chanel website, again, it's just called flap bag with top handle, so I guess we can call it small or medium. Again, it just does not help that the next size is called large. So it goes large, unnamed, regular flap bag, I guess, and then mini. So would this be called small or medium? You guys let me know. It's really hard to decide, but I guess I would kind of go with small because it is more of a small bag than a medium size. But for the purposes of this video, I'll just call it the original. So far, we have mini, original, and then the next one is large. Again, there is one size even smaller than the mini, but I'll insert a picture of that here just so you can see what it looks like. The next 2 sizes up and the larger sizes are the large, and then this on the website is called the Maxi. That is the names on the website, and so we're just going by those sizes. Again, online, this large size has been called small or medium. Over time, the names have changed, but back to the Chanel website, it's called the large. That is confirmed by the dimensions again, and then this is the Maxi and the largest size. Let me just quickly go over all the sizes again, just in a complete order because I was saying some other comments in between the sizes. So the first size is mini, then is the classic size, then is the large, and then is the maxi. In the next clip, I will upload a sliding video so you can see the sizes side by side. A little tip I want to give you, and kind of to help you decipher the sizes online and to make sure it is the correct size, is to look at the quilting. So for example, you can really kind of see it better on this color, is to count the quilts, and then you can compare it to the Chanel website and make sure it is the exact size that you are looking for, or just that is being sold. And especially with the different names, I mean, this will kind of give you a for sure look. You do have to be very careful and kind of pay attention to the details of the bag, but this is my tip. So count the quilts across and up. This will give you a for sure sign. So for example, this classic size has one, like pick a point and then start from there. So I'll just pick this row going at the top of the CC. So it has full quilts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then in this middle row along the CC, it has, let's count full quilts and then I'll see the halves. 1, 2, 3, and then if I'm just looking at it straight on, it has about half at the top and half here at the bottom. So I'll know that is the middle size. So the previous size had 6 quilts across. Let's check the mini size. Again, we're using this row above the CC turn lock. Counting full quilts, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you can right away tell this is smaller just by the quilts. The quilts are pretty much the same size. I think they are. Yes, they definitely look the same size even against the large size and the mini. If you're ever wondering, hopefully that tip will be helpful and can kind of help you decipher the sizes if it is ever confusing on a different website. Especially because when you're looking online, you can't really measure it in person, and so I find that tip very helpful. Even across other Chanel bags, I think it is one of the best ways to tell the differences in sizes. Let's now look at what can fit inside these models. We will start with the largest size, the maxi, and then work our way down and see what we have to remove and then what fits from this bag into the mini size. Starting with the maxi size, this one does have a leather lining, and here's a look at the inside. Again, you have those 3 compartments. But on this size and the large, this center compartment does have a zipper at the top. If you remember the classic size that I showed you, it was just a slip pocket, but this one does have a full zip. And then another thing that this size has is these slip pockets here on kind of the front side. It's 3, so it's a slip pocket on both sides, and then a little tiny, kind of like a pen holder size right here in the middle. This is very similar to the classic flaps that they have that on the back, but it's a bit larger. We'll start out with putting the essentials. Let's do my phone. My phone, let's see if it fits into those slip pockets. Actually, it doesn't. And then it fits into the middle compartment thing, but I probably wouldn't put it in there just because it's a little bit annoying, I feel like, to get in and out of. Also, I want to give you a view of how it fits into this back pocket because I feel like you might be wondering. And it does fit, but it's really snug. So unless you're gonna like put it there and leave it, I probably wouldn't put it there because if you're taking it out and putting it back in all the time, this pocket is prone to getting stretched out, and you can see that you kind of have to struggle a bit to pull it out. So I'm just gonna put it in this front pocket. When you're using this bag, I feel like this front pocket is one of your kind of more go-tos because to use this back pocket, you have to stretch the leather out a bit to expand the pocket and get your hand in there. Even again, this is the largest size and you still have to do that. Since this is the largest size, I'm gonna put my large wallet and make use of that space. That fits really nice, and I even fit up and down just to maximize Now let's see my keys. For my keys, I kind of feel like they need to be in a pouch because the inside is a smooth leather and that will definitely get scratched up by keys. So I'm gonna put them in a little pouch like this for protecting the bag. And then this I will put into that back pocket. Let's see about a sunglass case. That fit nicely as well. And then let's see if we can put a water bottle in here. I was actually able to fit that in. So if carrying a water bottle is a must, then this size will definitely be able to fit it. It is kind of taking up a lot of the space and you are risking the bag by having a water bottle in there, but I know sometimes it is an essential. And then here is a lip balm. I'll just put that in. And honestly, I feel like that's getting pretty full. Otherwise, you just have to stack your items and it kind of is just like not that much more space that you have. You can probably fit a few more small items or a few very flat items. This middle pocket, again, is really flat and you can probably just put like little papers or cards in there. Once I put my stuff in there, it definitely got a lot heavier, especially just holding it by the top handle. Like, I could probably not hold it up like this for a long time at all. With this size, I feel like it looks like you have a lot of space, and when you hear the word maxi, you think maximum space or just like really large and a lot of room inside the bag, but this bag really doesn't have that much room inside, and I feel like that center compartment is actually really limiting, and especially like this back pocket, it's very slim and just doesn't fit that much at all. So definitely keep in mind when you're looking at the sizes, I feel like some of them are just very similar and you probably just won't even get that much more space with this bag and the next size, the large. So let's look at that one next. Here is the large, and this one is in this pearly white caviar with gold hardware. Really a beautiful color combination. And then this one actually has a canvas lining, so that won't be prone to scratches as much. See, again, that's something that varies style to style, and maybe you'll care about that and maybe not, but again, keep in mind that it can get scratched up if it's the leather. We will start with my phone. Also, my phone does fit up and down if you want to maximize space like that. And then let's try my large wallet. That does fit, but it takes up a lot more space. Unlike the other one, I feel like I had a bit more room after putting in my large wallet. So you might be better off with a kind of more small to medium sized wallet. But personally for me, I hate switching wallets. Like, I have so much cards and all that stuff. So I kind of tend to just pick bags that fit my large wallet. And this one, I would say it does fit and it fits fine. So let's do that. And it kind of does fit up and down still too, if you want to maximize space vertically. And then what do we have next? Sunglasses. Oh, I definitely feel like that. Oh, I guess it does fit. That's actually good. Okay. The water bottle, no, there's like no room left for that. And it's definitely not fitting in this back slim pocket. That is just so slim. We can fit my keys in this pouch, in that back pocket. And then let's do a lip balm. And that is perfect. It actually looks really neat and satisfying, so I feel like that is the perfect amount of stuff. On this size, my phone doesn't fit at all in there, so just keep that in mind. Again, I'll probably just put cards and that's it. Now let's look at the original size and what can fit into here. We will start with the same items. My phone. This bag fits my phone very exactly. I feel like I only have about 2 or 3 inches extra on the side. That's how that looks. And actually, maybe I'll put my phone into that back pocket because it is more slim. This large wallet takes up all the space in the front. So if I would want to fit anything else, I'll probably have to switch out wallets to something more slim like this option. And then sunglass case is a no. That's how it looks up and down. It doesn't fit. Let's see if my sunglasses fit without the case. This one again has the leather lining, so even just something like this can kind of scratch it up over time. But it actually fits the sunglasses good without the case. They are a bit of a more slim model just for demonstration purposes, and not fitting the water bottle or anything like that. With my keys, I would probably have to remove them from this case. I'll put those in there, and I have just enough room left for this lip balm. And that's how it looks. Again, that's a good amount of stuff for this bag. And then this little back pocket probably only fit cards. Something to note again with these smaller sizes is just how tiny these little pockets are. I just feel like they're pretty much useless unless you put cards in there. Like for example, this one has like the tag from the store, and the back one, they're just so slim, so like little cards, and that's pretty much all that fits in there. Now the mini size is the smallest one that I have here today, and oh my gosh, it is so tiny. Let's see if it even fits my phone. It's definitely very snug and it fits very, very exact. It kind of does take a bit more effort to get in and out of. Let's see if this wallet will fit. It barely fits. I feel like this would be better suited for a flat card holder, or just skipping the wallet altogether and maybe utilizing some of those little slim pockets for just your most important cards. And then let's see about my keys. That's definitely a bit of a struggle, but it's just really, really snug. Sunglasses, no. I mean, I guess if I'm like really desperate. Yeah, I guess they fit. Okay, well, they kind of like are sideways. And then let's just shove a little, oh, the lip balm. Yeah, I was able to make it fit. It's just very, very tight. Like all this stuff, you're gonna have a struggle getting it back out once you shove it full like this. So I would probably just skip out on the sunglasses, take out this huge wallet, just pick my most essential cards or use a card holder, and then that I feel like is a good amount of stuff. This mini size is just an adorable little version of one of their releases. It has a rainbow top handle, and it's actually a really cool texture. It kind of looks like Smarties or like some kind of candy, like loop candies, and it just looks so fun and colorful. And then this one I believe is goatskin leather compared to the other ones, which were all caviar. Next up, I will try these bags on for you, and let's compare how they hang on the body and how they fit and their overall size comparison when worn. Here is the mini size compared to the original. You can see there is quite a big difference in the chain length. None of the Coco handles have an adjustable chain, so you just have one length to work with. The mini is a lot longer and seems more comfortable crossbody. But if you want to wear this bag on the shoulder, I would opt for the original. But crossbody, it's not really the most comfortable because of the top handle. It kind of is shorter and goes into your side. Here's how they look on the shoulder. Definitely a visible difference in the length. Let's compare the original with the large. The original is a little bit shorter, but also the bag is larger here. But I feel like if you look close, you can see that there is still a difference in where the chain length actually starts. Here is how they look crossbody. Both of these sizes, the top handle is kind of going into the side a bit. Let's compare the large and the maxi. These actually feel very similar on. You can see because of the large size, it does hang lower compared to the other small models, but it is feeling pretty much the same on my shoulder and weight-wise as well. Here's the difference crossbody, and mainly it seems that due just to the larger size of the maxi bag, that is what is contributing it to end lower. Let me give you some of the quick pros and cons for this style overall. Some things that you should keep in mind when considering this bag. Earlier I mentioned that it is a bit more prone to corner wear because of these rigid corners. They can kind of catch on stuff and rub the color off or texture off more easily. The larger sizes, I noticed that once I put my stuff in, they definitely got a lot heavier, and I think that might be just due to the overall material, and like the handle is more rigid, so that can definitely add weight, and it's just like, you know, added a lot of weight. I'm not sure like why exactly, like it doesn't feel like such a heavy bag, but again, of course, compared to like a fully fabric bag, it definitely is a bit heavier. It wasn't as noticeable on the smaller options like the original and the mini, and that's just because I wasn't able to fit as much stuff, and of course they are just smaller in general. Another kind of wear point about this bag is that once you open the flap, it can tend to get some creasing here over time, and that's just gonna happen naturally because of the way that the bag is designed. One major pro I find about the Coco handle is definitely its versatility. I feel like it easily transitions from day to night. With the top handle, you kind of have a more elegant option, and then you do have this strap, which you can easily use during the day for a more hands-free look, or just kind of have it on the shoulder, crossbody. We can see which of the models even go crossbody. And then it is detachable when you don't want to use the long strap and you want a more sleek, just top handle look. It's nice to have that detachable feature. One kind of final con, which I also mentioned, but I want to reiterate, is that the space inside is quite small. You saw that with all the sizes. I wasn't really able to get that much stuff in, and that is also due to the structure. It's very rigid, so it's not stretching as much to accommodate the amount of stuff inside, but you kind of have to just decide like how much stuff do you really need to carry, and maybe it's better just suited kind of for a more minimalistic carry person. Like if you just need the essentials, then I think it's still a really great option. That's pretty much all there is to the Coco handle bag, and hopefully this was helpful in deciphering the sizes and just the overall functionality of these bags. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later. Bye!